All right. Hey, good evening, LinkedIn. Whew. Back. First show of the year, 2022. It's been a long, long ride, but tonight we got a great show about ghosting and hiring processes. But here's a great new video that I just made, and we'll be right back after this. That is one long, long introduction. I'm gonna have to try to shorten that one up a little bit. It's like watching a movie there. I think it's about a minute and a half long video. Hey, I want to welcome everybody tonight, and feels good to be back doing a lot of great shows right now. This is my first one of the year. It's been a hard beginning of the year. Let's just say 18 days of pure hell of great COVID. I think everybody's had it before. Oof, no more of that. I'm glad that one and done, I hope. But tonight's show is going to be about the ghosting. I was going through a lot of the posts on LinkedIn over and over, just scrolling, right? And the number one I would have to say is about ghosting the recruiters and the employers. Second to that, I would say the hiring process, then maybe a bad boss and everything like that. But hey, there he is. How you doing, sir? It's only been about 3 weeks, probably 2 years since I've been on here. Thanks, man. Thanks for checking up on me and giving me a call. It was nice talking with you, and it's good to be back. It's a little weird, I'm trying to get back into work. I've been back there for like 3 days, and it's there. Let's just say it's there, man. And the energy. Welcome back, Stephen Farrell. We got them all, Tuvia, the main man right here. Steve, I still owe it to you. Everybody, real quick with Steve. I wanted to do a show so bad. I was ready to go back. And I think it was Sunday. We were going to just do this show and had it, Steve, we all had it all lined up. And I was making it all up. And 5 minutes prior, I texted him and I said I couldn't do it. There was no friggin' way. I was sweating and I had the lights on and I was still coughing. But all day long, it was fine. But then Steve went on his own, and that was never that was down to the friggin' minute, But Steve, we're going to have you back on the show and definitely going to talk about it. Yes, definitely. So thanks, guys, for welcoming me back. But like I was saying, with ghosting seems to be the number one. I looking at so many posts, it's just directed to the recruiters, and then the recruiters directed back to the candidate. And a lot of it I wanted to just bring up to, get the point across now is when recruiters, not all recruiters are bad. They're not. I mean, I believe some of them just are not trained properly. They're not. And it's not their fault. I blame that always on the management. If you're a team member, your recruiter is just not up to par, and you see things going on in recruiter that you wouldn't do, maybe that person wasn't trained correctly. That's a lot of it, because they don't want to come up with that uncomfortable conversation. We all know it. I don't like doing it. Nobody likes doing it. And I'm sure Tuvi and Steve, they've done plenty of this. People don't want to confront people, even if it's on an email or a text. You would think it would be so easy Seriously, how hard is it to let the person know? Now, I can think of some reasons why they don't, because I've been there. I've been on both sides of the fence. Sometimes when a recruiter gets an order, let's just say they're an entry level recruiter, but they're going after a higher end candidate, right? And they might be a little intimidated, and they do the basic interview process, right? They'll do the phone screening and maybe the first interview. But then when it gets recommended to the next level, listen, sometimes that takes so friggin' long. You could have a candidate, 2 or 3 candidates in limbo for 3 to 4 friggin' weeks. I mean, you make them wait. In today's world, you can't make them wait. Not in today's, the way of the unemployment. We all know it. We all hear it every day. There's too many options. So when that recruiter, if their boss is dragging their feet on that, right? They're just dragging their feet. And you keep going to them, hey, what do I tell this person? What do I tell this other person? Oh, just they'll wait. That's some of the things that some people might say. But the number one thing I want people to realize, and just think of this, whether you're a candidate or an employer, reverse that role, whichever one you are. If you're a candidate that's been ghosted, right? Oh, that recruiter, right? Didn't do it. Now, if you're the recruiter and you don't call back, right? If you don't give somebody something, think about how it feels. Think about how it feels if that was reversed on you, because you can lose your job within a day. Easy. You're done. Right up under your feet. The next day, you're going to find yourself doing interviews. Yeah, you're going to be right there next to them. You're going to be like, whoa, what just happened here? That's when you're going to see what it feels like to be on the opposite end. And it doesn't feel good. Anybody that's lost their job, and I say that respectively, but they've lost their job now, they're on the other side, they're going to see the difference of a good recruiter and a recruiter that's got some maybe learning disabilities, let's just say. Because if you're a good recruiter, listen, they'll take you right through the steps. You'll apply, you're going to go there, you're going to really, really have good communication. Oh, here's Matt. There we go. Hey, Matt, communication. But it's definitely I'm going to leave that right there. Matt, it's great to see you back. I saw your videos, and we're going to get Matt on the show too. Tuvia and Steve, you got to meet this guy. You got to make sure you connect, and we're going to have Matt on the show too. He started out doing a lot of good videos on LinkedIn. I love it. If you get a chance, check Matt out. Matt, put on here, I don't want to say the staffing company name and make a mistake, but I think you do IT recruiting. I believe you do some of that if you want to leave that on here, and what state. But he's a great guy to watch. He's just stepping outside that box and putting the videos on LinkedIn. And being a recruiter, that's the best way. And what he said is the number one, I'm going to put it right there. The number one of this whole show about ghosting would be communication. That's it. That is it right there. If you had to learn anything, anybody watching the show tomorrow or down next week or something, communication is key, but a two-way, and we're going to talk about that. Oh my God. Hey, everybody, here's Rob. Hey, Rob, how's the airport going? Rob's got a new job, and thanks, Rob. It feels good to be back. And again, thanks for calling. Everybody here. Oh my God, I've talked to everybody for 18 friggin' long days. I even grew a beard, man. 18 days of pure friggin' hell with that COVID, man. That ain't nothing to mess around with. So I got feelings of that the same way, both sides, communication. But thanks, everyone. I had so many people on LinkedIn reach out. I could not even tell you and call and talk more than my own family. But it's true. I'm not going to say it. Everybody on here that I talk to. But when Matt said about, here he is. Okay. Oh, it's accounting and finance in Florida and Georgia for Aston Carter. All right. So reach out, Matt, anybody that's looking for an accounting, finance jobs in Florida, Georgia, Aston Carter, and connect with him. And you're going to see all his jobs that he talks about right on LinkedIn, and keep the good work up on that. You're going to see the pay back for that. Your results are going to start coming in within month after month after month, and everybody's going to get to know you, and they're going to reach out to you. And there's no end, Matt, when you do that. When you start a show even like this, if you worry about views and if you worry about all that other stuff going on behind it, just stay consistent. Stay consistent with your shows, doing your videos, and before you know it, people will be coming in. It's just because you in jail. I'm in jail, right? Oh my God. But we're going to go back to that for the ghosting. And it, again, I believe it comes down to that conversation that recruiter doesn't want to have. Sometimes now that they're not even showing up for work for the first day and they're getting ghosted that way to their employer. And I was reading a lot about that, and I saw a lot of the post. I mean, I know a lot of people don't show up for work, but in $50,000 to $75,000 a year jobs, there was people still ghosting, not showing up for the first day. So you think to yourself, wow, $70,000 a year and you're not showing up. But it comes down, it comes down to all the jobs and the low unemployment and the booming job market. There's so many opportunities that, listen, would I do it? No. Man, can you imagine that? You give your 2-week notice to your company, you're going there, and then you don't show up. It makes no freaking sense not to show up. And then one day when you need that company, or you might have somebody to refer to, they're not gonna reach out to you. But on the other end, and these things that you find out as you read on and you read all these posts on LinkedIn, some people have given their 2-week notice and then they're let go that day. It's just kind of like ghosting in a way, because they're like, wait a minute here. I gave you 2 weeks notice, but now you're telling me to leave now. I don't get it. The days of, and they said it's happening more and more. I've talked to a couple of people and I'm like, wait a minute. So you give your notice, you're happy to leave, and then you go to work and I said, well, go ahead and go home now. Damn. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Don't tell anybody. If that happens to you, right? Let's just say you give your 2-week notice, right? You give it, they lay you off, or they tell you to go home. We don't need you anymore. Collect unemployment for 2 weeks. Apply for unemployment, man. I would be in a heartbeat. Somebody does that to me, man, I'm going to apply for 2 weeks in unemployment, and you're going to win. You're going to win that. You're going to win because you've done everything properly, and, boom. But the rest of the stuff I wanted to talk to you about is why do they call it recruiter ghosting, right? Ghosting refers to an act when recruiters and hiring managers stop the conversation. That you'll go through first step, right? Boom, they talk to you, right? You go to that next step, right? You have that interview, man, you're feeling good. Second one went really well. They're saying an average of 10 to 14 days that you should have an offer. So I was trying to think of that. What is, in today's market, do you think 14 days, waiting 2 weeks for a job is legit? Now, 2 weeks is a long time, but in today's market, Rob says, where can I get that $70,000 job at? Rob, I'm not kidding you. I was looking at this one posting, and a recruiter put on there that she hired him and he didn't show up and he just got another job. So I was like, damn, 70 grand and you just walk away, and it has a ripple effect, because now that you've ghosted, some of the recruiters have ghosted the candidates prior to them, right? Now you've lost those candidates. So it's like kind of like starting all over again. It sucks, Hey, Anne-Marie, how you doing? It's my cousin. She's over here in New Jersey. It's always good to see her. Ooh, I'm sorry, Nashville. Oh my God, Tennessee. But she's always says hi. I appreciate it. But think about that. You're letting that candidate 2 or 3 go, because they're going to ghost you because you're not waiting. Hey, Josephine. Oh, good. 14 days is a long time, but if it's constant communication between a candidate and recruiter, yes. Josephine, I agree 1,000% what you just said there, because I'm going to give you an example. You go through that first interview, right? You got it set up. A good recruiter will call you right after that. They're going to call you and say, hey, how did it go? All right. They're going to say, oh, you're going to be like, wow, I think I really did great, right? In the staffing industry. I think you really did great. Good. Okay. They want to see you, talk to you. Can you do Monday or Tuesday next week? Sure. Boom. They remind you right beforehand, hey, don't forget about your interview. You do your interview, right? Right after that interview, 2 hours or so, you call the person, right? She would call and say, hey, how'd your first interview go? How'd you go with the client? Oh my God, it was great. It was great. And everything went good. That is what's nice there. Now they're going to set you up maybe for, 4, 5, 6 days, maybe later. And like what you said there, 14 days is long, but it's not uncommon, because now, as long as you take that last step is the most important. And let's just say if they got their job, great, right? If they didn't, it is so hard to tell a candidate that you can hear it in their voice. And Josephine, I know you're going to know what I mean here, is when you're talking to that employee or candidate and saying, listen, they didn't choose you. Now, to me, I think it's better. Listen, at least I know why didn't I get that job? You want to know why. So then sometimes expect the candidate to come back to you and say, hey, Dave, what happened? I thought I qualified. Not all the recruiters will have that answer for you. And since I've been on both sides, I can honestly say that sometimes the recruiter doesn't get the answer that you want to be heard. Like, they're just going to say maybe they're not qualified to you. But then you got to call them and tell them that. And you might have to go back and forth. But at the end of the day, if at least you got to just stop and believe that the recruiter has had really great conversation with you and kept you through the process, because now you probably had 1 or 2 other interviews lined up by then. That's always a good thing to do. So thanks, Josephine. I really appreciate that. And again, if you look at this, constant communication, just like Matt, accounting. I'm sorry, we got to go back up here, Matt, right there. Communication, same thing, two-way street. So, and then Rob here says, what is the best way to handle a panel interview? Woof. Rob, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never had a panel interview in the 5, 6 positions I've had. I'm not going to say how to handle it. I believe you really got to be prepared. I'd be like nervous freaking wreck, man. You're going to put me in front of 4 people, 3 or 4. But, it's not uncommon, because they can get everything done within one shot. You could have your regional, your director, your, VP all on one call, and they can ask you a lot of questions. And let me tell you, you're going to feel intimidated. I know I would be. Listen, after all that, your past interview, and Rob says it feels like they kicked in the gut. Rob, you're right. I'm not going to deny that. It does feel, it hurts. Listen, I've been there. I'm not going to sit there and say, even I've never ghosted someone. I've been into a lot of years. And I think as you learn, as you evolve into positions, as you grow, you really learn the respect of letting someone know it's not great to be ghosted. It hurts. You might not like the outcome. I'd rather know that I could do it. And I always try never to, I like to have those interviews on a Monday or something. I don't like to do those ones where you have it on a Friday, and then you got to wait all weekend. And by the time your anxiety over the weekend, did I get the job? And it just, you have that good feeling, and Monday, Tuesday comes around and bam. But at least they've told you about it. And Rob, you're right. It does suck. It feels like somebody kicked you. But on the other end of it, there's someone else that did get the job. Some people are more qualified than others. That's just the way it is. Let's see here. Why do candidates ghost recruiting? Top candidates typically interview with more than one organization. Okay. What they say is, what they mean by this, if you feel you're not good fit for a company or role and you're holding out for another opportunity, you're being considered being honest and let the recruiter know. I don't know if I'd want to tell. I don't know about you, Rob, or even Matt and everybody here, is what I tell the recruiter, if you were hiring me and I'm interviewing, I don't know if I could sit there and say, listen, I do have another interview right now, tomorrow. maybe I'm old school. I don't know. I don't know if I would do that. I just think I would go through the interview process and let it go. I don't think I'd want to put that pressure back on that manager and say, hey, listen, if you don't make a decision in 2 days, I'm gone. To me, that's my opinion. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know. That's just me. But Matt says, I have a recruiter that sends an email during a second interview saying, keep your head up. No matter what happens, I'm going to follow up with you. If you don't get this role, we will still help you with your search. She builds the best relationships. Whoa. I think Matt, you can tell her that she's awesome because you've hit everything from recruiter, email, interview, head up, makes your feelings no matter what happens, right? Then you're going to follow up. You're building anticipation. If you don't get the role, we will still help you with the search. She builds the best relationships. That right there, I'm telling you, is freaking priceless. Everything, Matt, you said right there that she does. That's what I was talking about. And if you can find someone like this that gives you the follow-up all the way through, you're going to win. And listen, some people are okay with not getting that job. They might be like, well, I'm not sure if I was qualified anyway as much. And you could have a little stress relief, but that's just some of the things about ghosting that goes along with it. And again, on LinkedIn, it's the number one issue of doing that. And here, how do you deal with a ghosting a recruiter? What can you do about it? Make contact. The past date you expected to hear from the recruiter, communication stopped. Should you contact them by email, text, call? I don't think there's really a good answer for that one. I think either one of them matches. If you don't hear from the recruiter within a week, I don't think there's nothing wrong with sending a short email. Go ahead and send it and just say, hey, do you have any updates? Because sometimes recruiters are filling in. A recruiter might, like what Matt does, he might be filling 5, 6, 10 jobs. So not everybody, but sometimes it happened to me that I'd be like, oh, wow, I was working on this other order. And I'm like, damn it. I said, I told that person I was going to call them and I didn't. So I made a point, text them, emailed them, and even left a voicemail. So that's what you can do. Everybody says, well, how long should you text them twice? Should you call twice? Should you email twice? No. That's just me. Unless I'm wrong or somebody feels that way. If you've already sent a text to the recruiter and they haven't responded back, I have no clue why they won't. I think they'd want to I'd want to just get it over with. Just get the freaking thing over with and just either say yes or no. You're going to relieve the stress off yourself, but you're also going to relieve the stress of the candidate because the candidate's going to feel like, all right, they're either going to be pissed off or they're going to be happy. And the same thing with the recruiter. You're either going to be pissed off. I got upset. I got to tell this person. Don't be afraid to have that conversation. It's going to come in time. If you're a young recruiter, it's okay to be nervous. Listen, if to this day, still when I interview or when I hire a candidate, they make mistakes, so it's okay to have that conversation. And if your stomach, if it's not feeling right on the Monday that you have to tell that person, get it over with because you're going to finally it'll make your day go a lot better. There's nothing else. That's just part of the process. Not everybody gets the job, but they really just want to know an answer. That is it. Because and I understand why a candidate really feels that way. If you've really worked yourself real hard for that interview, right? You really studied the company, the company from maybe some colleagues or some friends. Man, you really want to work for us, it's a great shift. It's going to fit your family. It's going to fit your culture. You can hear it in their voices when you call the candidate that they're happy, excited, and then bam, you nail them with that. What would you rather have? That, right? Telling your friends, did you get the job? No, I didn't get it. They said I wasn't as qualified or I didn't have this or that. Okay. Or do you want to have that feeling of anger of, wow, I can't believe this company didn't call me back or this recruiter? Again, it's not all recruiters are like this. It's not. Follow up, once or twice. I wouldn't even go twice. I'd follow up once. And if I don't hear anything, just continue to move on, and then maybe for maybe 14 days later or 21 days later, you might get that call. You might have picked up a small job right in between and you get that call, and then you're going to be excited. You're going to be like, wow, they must have not hired the other person because they hired me. And that's probably true, because in recruiting, and I know, Matt, you could adhere to this, and everybody too, is when you're in recruiting, there's so many people looking for work when they come to the staffing company that I wish I could find them all jobs. But one good thing when you do go to a staffing company is they have other jobs. Not like if you're just going to a regular company, one. When you're going to like a company with Matt and you go there, he might have 10 different openings at 5 different companies. So you have a choice. You might not have gotten this one, but you know what? Here's something a little more close to you, what you've done also. You might get hired on that job. I have a couple more things here. It was kind of funny. Can an employer ghost you? 4 methods. Oh, here's the one. I like this. I got to read this. This is hilarious. Let's see. This is all simple stuff. I print all this stuff out and read it. They were talking about why. I'm going to change the subject here. This is when it went to. This happens when you do a live show and you haven't done it in a while. It was talking about on the application process. It's still kind of like ghosting, but what are some of the issues that people see on your resume when you're trying to get the job? And the rejection list. Let's just say that. I skipped something here. Don't worry about it. So some of them were sloppy job applications, right? Some of them were unsuitable personality, right? You've noticed job hopping, right? Skills are not fit right for the role, okay? Reference checks didn't pan out. I don't get that. Reference checks. You only give a company a good reference. I don't call them. I'm being honest with you. I really don't call them that much, because you're giving them to people like me. Hey, Dave, I told this company, can they call you for a reference check? Sure. Do you really think I'm going to say something bad? But that's just me. You're not on time. That's no excuse. Weak recommendations. I don't even know where that would come from. Messy appearance. If you're not going to a job and you're not dressed right, these are maybe some of the problems that could be ghosting why you didn't get it. Poor follow-up. Coworkers don't improve. 10 worst reasons to reject a job applicant. This ought to be great. No right or expected degree. Now, expected degree, I kind of disagree with this part, because not everybody needs, and that's another show, but about when you are confident about something, when you have experience versus having a degree and doing the same thing. So that's another show. Short-term periods in past companies. We got some from Matt here. Also, we have direct access to hiring managers. So if we don't have an open, we can ask the managers if they can use this great person. That's upscale. I like that upselling too, kind of in a way. So what Matt's saying there, everybody, is listen, when you go through, if you got a hold of Matt now and, hey, I'm looking for work, and he might have, like he said, a place to put you somewhere else, because he can skill market you. He can take you, Matt can take you and say, okay, you know what? I know a place that's hiring, and it's a great way for even a staffing company to get some sales, is you reach out to another company and you say, hey, I got this great candidate. Listen, I really feel they would fit your job in the staffing company. Would you like to interview them? They're gonna stop and think, because if they're short-staffed and you have somebody in the IT or any kind of medical or anything, it doesn't matter anymore. It's all on the board. But if they know you found somebody and you're valuable, they're gonna scarf you off. They're gonna be like, hell yeah. They're gonna pay that fee, the fee for a staffing company, which is very well justified, and they're gonna take that candidate. It's just also the way. So that's great. Way to think about it, Matt, and appreciate that. And again, these things that he's saying and everybody on the show here has been great. I do want to take the time and say about what's coming up this year. Matt, we're gonna have you on the show, and I want to have, we're gonna have Rob. We're gonna have a big team here. We got to get Steve, everybody back on Tuvia and discuss what he does. And I have a lot of great guests already lined up coming up. A lot of great book authors, and if you know somebody out there that really shows value that would like to come on the show, please reach out, PM me. Maybe you offer a service that you're passionate about for staffing, for the staffing industry. Maybe you do some kind of sales, or you offer some kind of new software for a staffing company. Hey, there he is. Here's the number one man right here. Hey, Gabe, how you doing, sir? You got it. I don't care. I'm going to stop right now, drop the microphone, connect with Gabe, and I'll tell you what, you will not go backwards. I've had him on my show, and I think I've been on his, and he's a great man. And streaming, and you talk about taking what we're doing here and putting it on friggin' steroids. And there he goes. That's Gabe. He's the man. So that's what this kind of guy that you want to connect with. And Gabe, I got to tell you, I like that video. I got to top that one, man. That new one you got coming through and that countdown. I saw that and I was like, where the hell did he get that from? Where the hell did he get it? I was like, damn it. But that was great, Gabe. James, thanks, James. I appreciate it. And it's been a long time. I've been off for a while, but I'm back. I'm going to have James on the show here also. He's a great person. He has some great guests with sales. I'm sorry, James. I put some of your guests on your podcast. I love where you find those salespeople. For me to shut the TV off and watch the podcast with a salesperson, they got my attention. So everybody, please reach out to James. These are just great guys that you want to definitely connect with. So glad you have so many great guests. I can send some recruiters. That's what I'm talking about. So these are the kings right here. There they are. See, now they'll go back and talk to everybody, but they're great guys. And seriously, I want to wish everybody a great new year. It was a rough start for ourselves, for our family. Tough 18 days with that great COVID, but it's over. Looking forward to, this is my first show, and it's January 19th. Really looking to take it up a notch. Really trying to find some great guests, some great recruiters. Anybody that's in this industry that wants to come on the show. If you know of anybody that's looking for a job, I always offer on the Ring of Hire show to bring you on and give you a live interview on this show. And I know, Gabe and James and everybody can say that, Matt, is I love helping people. So if you know somebody, I don't care what state it is, because with having the amount of followers on LinkedIn and people, the way they're sharing, we bring the guests on this show and do a live interview with that person that needs a job. And I always tell everybody, and that's the reason why I do it, it takes one person. Last year, I was able to get 7 people a full-time job out of about 18 people on the show. That is not bad when you think about it. 7 out of like 18 people interviews that I did. So that's all it takes. And it seems like Texas and California and Pennsylvania and, Florida. I've had guests on Florida. It doesn't matter what state. You have somebody that needs help, please have them PM me and I'll get you back. So everybody, I really want to thank for coming on the show. I'll be back tomorrow night, and have a great, safe New Year's, and talk to you soon.